Empires don't usually fall because they lose wars. What destroys them is their inability to pay their soldiers. Rome learned this painfully, Spain went bankrupt multiple times, and its armies, unpaid, caused rebellions and internal chaos. Even France occasionally faced serious crises when it couldn't pay its armies. Yet the Ottoman Empire managed to pay its soldiers consistently during almost non-stop wars, sustaining this system for centuries. So, how did an empire keep its army from bankruptcy for 600 years? The answer wasn't courage, it was money. In this video, we will explore in detail the financial system that kept the Ottoman army standing, from the timar system to the salary structure, from the war economy to the balance of spoils and taxes, illustrated with examples and stories. The most important secret of an army is loyalty, and loyalty comes directly from salary. The Ottomans understood this very well and put it into practice. The Janissaries were not just warriors, but professional soldiers who always received their pay regularly. Thanks to this disciplined salary system, rebellions rarely erupted. Soldiers remained loyal to the state, reassured that their wages were secure. In other great empires of the 16th century, delayed payments often sparked uprisings and unrest. In the Ottoman army, however, such situations almost never occurred because the state treated salary payments as a top priority. For example, during the reign of Suleiman the Magnificent, despite the hardships of campaigns and long journeys, the Janissaries remained loyal, and the army's discipline was not disrupted. This simple yet effective salary system was one of the fundamental factors that maintained the stability and strength of the Ottoman army. The Ottomans did not rely solely on cash to pay their soldiers. Instead, they built a vast financial network through a comprehensive system called the timar system. The timar system meant that revenues from certain regions were directly allocated to soldiers. This way, soldiers not only received a steady income, but could also support themselves. Each timar was structured to cover the basic needs of a sipahi, cavalryman, or soldier. Even if cash was scarce, this method prevented soldiers from going hungry and ensured their loyalty. Moreover, the timar system was not just an economic mechanism, but also a tool for political and social balance. It created a continuous chain of loyalty between local governors, sipahis, and the central authority, strengthening the empire's administrative structure. The system ensured the army remained disciplined and effective while reinforcing the central government's authority in different regions. The timar system also increased soldier motivation. Since sipahis had their own sources of income, they acted more disciplined during campaigns and fulfilled their duties reliably. For instance, during a campaign, the risk of losing timar revenue would be minimized by the unit commander, reinforcing both the soldiers' loyalty to the state and their own region. Thus, the timar system went beyond an economic mechanism, functioning as a social and political regulator. Soldiers were not only paid but also held responsibility and prestige tied to their income, which constantly kept their loyalty and motivation high, increasing the army's effectiveness. The Ottomans did not view wars merely as expenses. For them, war was also a major source of revenue. Loot, taxes, and timar revenues were used to pay the army's salaries. This system allowed the Ottomans to finance their army without going bankrupt, even during prolonged wars. For example, during a major campaign in the 16th century, the loot acquired exceeded the total timar revenues of a region, and the surplus was distributed as bonuses to motivate soldiers. Such practices ensured that soldiers saw their achievements rewarded, not just their salaries. This kept morale high and made wars sustainable both strategically and financially. While also demonstrating the Ottomans' long-term planning and economic discipline, the Ottomans not only paid their soldiers, but also built a system that tied them to the state and their duties. The timar and salary systems ensured that the army remained strong and disciplined even during peacetime. This allowed the empire to maintain authority across its vast territories while guaranteeing soldier loyalty. This holistic approach became one of the key reasons the Ottoman army remained operational and achieved great successes for centuries. Of course, the Ottoman army and the timar system were not flawless. Over time, some irregularities occurred, and particularly during periods of weak central authority, Janissary uprisings emerged. These revolts were often triggered by delayed salaries or irregular timar revenues. For instance, in some regions, when timar revenues were insufficient, soldiers did not receive their salaries on time, causing dissatisfaction. However, these shortcomings did not completely overshadow the fiscal discipline and order established by the Ottomans in previous centuries. Before the reign of Mahmud II, when some timars became insufficient, the central government had to provide additional cash payments to maintain soldier loyalty. Such temporary solutions demonstrated the system's flexibility and resilience. Despite occasional disruptions, the Ottomans succeeded in keeping their army standing for many years, because the system functioned not only as an economic mechanism, but as a network of loyalty between soldiers, local administrators, and the central authority. One of the most interesting aspects of this system was how wars themselves created a financial cycle. The Ottomans treated wars not only as a military tool, but also as an economic mechanism. Loot, captured territories, and strategic regions provided funds for the next campaign, while tax and timar revenues guaranteed soldiers basic salaries. In this way, the state continuously financed its soldiers while securing their loyalty. Modern economists have even studied and admired this system for its longevity and effectiveness. The Ottomans created a unique balance between economic sustainability and military efficiency, establishing a structure that was stable both financially and strategically. Furthermore, this system disciplined not only the soldiers, but also the central and provincial administration. Timar holders collected taxes and raised soldiers in their regions, allowing the central authority to control financial resources while maintaining army order. The system was built on a threefold balance: soldier, timar holder, and central government. Each component depended on the others. The timar holder managed his soldiers well to protect his income, soldiers acted disciplined to secure their salaries and revenues, and the central government oversaw the whole process. This complex yet effective balance enabled the Ottomans to remain standing for centuries and maintain authority across diverse regions. The system functioned not only as an economic structure, but also as a socio-political regulator. Through the timar system, soldiers remained loyal to the state, local administrators were accountable to the central authority, and the war economy kept the army's motivation high. The Ottomans motivated soldiers not only through salary, but also through prestige, responsibility, and rewards. For example, after a successful campaign, the distribution of loot and bonus payments increased loyalty and morale, preparing the army for the next campaign. This cycle ensured that the army remained strong both economically and morally. In conclusion, what kept the Ottoman army standing was not just courage or strategic skill. The real secret was the regular, intelligent, and strategic management of money. The timar system, consistent salaries, war economy, and tax balance collectively protected the empire's army from collapse for 600 years. Without this system, the Ottoman army might have lost discipline much sooner and headed toward collapse. In upcoming videos, we will examine how this system eventually broke down, the role of declining timar revenues and Janissary revolts in weakening the Ottoman army. But one thing is certain. Through financial discipline, smart administration, and strategic planning, the Ottomans created a military and economic success story that left a mark in history, an example that highlights not only their battlefield achievements, but also their statecraft. If this story gave you a new perspective, subscribe. Secrets are hidden in history, and I will show them to you.